All right, everyone, I'd like to welcome you all to another episode of the Southern Dogmen podcast. Tonight, we're joined by Mr. Ducie Ducote. He just won the Arkansas State hunt for the UMCA, and we got him on tonight just to talk about the dog that he was handling this weekend, and also go out through the rounds. So, Ducie, I appreciate you getting on here and joining me tonight, buddy. I'm sure everybody's real excited to hear about your big win. Congratulations from us. Uh,
Well, thank you very much.
so let's just go ahead and jump into it, buddy. What dog was
Sure.
he hunting this weekend?
I'm hunting D2's JW, and we call him Dub. Uh, he's a little pup that we raised here off of my Razor dog and my Gracie female. He just turned 2 years old on June the 20th.
Now that is the dog that you won the Junior World with last year for UMCA, correct?
That's right. I won fourth in the OMCBA world. I uh, won the world in UMCA. And then since then, I think I might move to Hazen because that's where the world hunt was for UMCA. And then they had two LMC hunts, and I won both of them. And now they've had this state hunt, and I won it. I think if anybody calls me out, I want to go to Hazen.
I think it's just time for you to load up and head ship up there. I agree with you. Sounds like you winning everything they're hosting.
It's been good to me so far.
Yeah. How's the hunting up there at Hazen, buddy? I've heard a lot of people praising that place. How is it?
And I like it. It's you got such good guides there with the LBK bunch, and not just the LBK bunch, but the whole UMCA bunch. They all get together and they make sure you are in squirrels. And that's like this weekend. I don't think we had a cast that I was on that anybody was less than 200 circle points on. So that's pretty good with three dogs at the level these dogs are now, being 1,000 yards from each other. You looking at each person scoring two and three squirrels each. That's pretty darn good. So I like the terrain and all there.
Good flatland.
Very flat.
Yeah.
Little you can tell it's probably a little low in there at some point, and I mean easy to get around in. Only thing is you can hear the interstate pretty good, but that doesn't bother us too bad.
Now is that's a big chunk of public land that y'all are usually hunting up there, correct?
Yeah, I don't know how big that reserve is. I saw a sign. It's called Wattensaw,
Uh huh.
but I don't remember how many acres Wattensaw is.
There you go. There you go. Well, it sounds like it might be the dreamland, might be the new land between the lakes, is what it sounds like.
Well, it's a lot of squirrels there. I can tell you that.
So, well, man, let's jump into it. How many y'all hunted? What 3 rounds this weekend?
3 rounds,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Well, let's
I
jump
think
into
somebody
let's.
said it was either 23 or 25 dogs, something like that. It was a pretty good pile of dogs there.
Mhm. Well, let's go ahead and jump into your first round. Who'd you pull out with, and what was kind of the play-by-play of it?
All right, I drew Wilson's Kate, and Mr. Barry Matthews was handling her. And then Adam Faulkner handled Fred. And of course, I was hunting Dub. And Mr. Matthews, I don't think he's been to but one or two um, casts ever, but you can tell he's a very good squirrel hunter. And it did not take him long to get a hold to the game. Um, he was hunting a dog, I think, trained by Mr. Joey Dennison.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, but I think I own maybe a sister to her at one time. But she's about a 7-year-old female, really nice dog. When she put her feet on the tree, there was no chance of her moving. And Bart Williams guided us in there, did a great job. And I think on that one, it was so, we made it to overtime. I had two, so I looked at two squirrels. He looked at two squirrels. We both had 300 circle, and we got down to the very last squirrel, and we had to go into overtime. We ran out of time. We was at 200 plus and 300 circle each.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we were coming in off fixing to go into overtime, Dub kept trying to win the squirrel behind me. And I mean, he was trying to go that way, and Bart wanted us to go back toward the road. And I said, Bart, we might as well cut loose here whenever you get ready. I said, because he's going right back behind us. And sure enough, as soon as we cut him, He went straight behind us about 140 yards, maybe a little further, fell treed. And as we were going to him, we heard Kate barking. And we were a little confused on how the overtime worked in UMCA. We thought it was a full 15 minutes and then a coin toss. So once we got to my tree, I circled it up, couldn't find the squirrel. So then we went in there to Kate and Bart, or no, maybe Adam. I think it was Adam. He pulled the scorecard out and read it, and he said, wait a minute, I think we got a foul up here. And the way UMCA is, it's a 15-minute overtime with the first dog that makes a tree. So we both ended up circling, but Mr. Barry's didn't count, so that moved me to the second round.
So you go into the overtime, it's kind of like NFL football. Basically, the first team that scores is going to win, but it's with a dog in this scenario, correct?
That's right. And it's kind of like if you NSD hunt, it's like once you get sudden death, first dog to make a tree that can score a plus or circle. It don't take a minus.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into your second round.
Well, from there, I drew Mr. Adam Patterson with the tipper dog. Matter of fact, him and Mr. Barry Matthews that I drew in the first round, I think they were riding partners coming over there. And so we went to a little different piece of ground. I'd been there before, but it's been a couple of years ago at another hunt. And right off the bat, Dub treed a squirrel. He had one, and Tipper went off left-handed, and he came up with a circle. We couldn't find his. We found Dub's. So we cut loose again, and I think Tipper treed right ahead of Dub. And then I called Dub. He was right behind him. They was about, 500 apiece apart from each other. And Tipper had a squirrel. I know he didn't have a squirrel. He was circled again. And then Dub circled. Well, we kind of got in on a little creek bed, and it was starting to get hot. And both dogs were kind of getting sorry. And Dub, I guess, caught his second wind. He pulls out about 600 in trees. And I treed him just as soon as he barked 2 or 3 times. And then Tipper went right-handed and treed, and he treed him. So the way we were set up with judges and people, Mr. Adam went to his dog, and then we waited there at my dog's tree until they got there. And before they ever got there, we pulled the vine. I say, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if they showed up first or we scored it first, but it doesn't matter. We scored it. Squirrel run out the top of it. And so I was sitting at 200 plus, 100 circle, and he had 300 circle, and we were kind of getting close down to the end. And then he said, just, you can put your dog on the lead, and we let him out. He couldn't come ahead hardly from there. We were getting close on time.
So y'all called that one.
Yeah, Yep, sure did.
Now, you it's getting hot. The dogs are getting tired. How long did y'all have a break before y'all went out on this final cast? I know UMCA, they had a meeting. I imagine it would have been after the second round, correct?
That's right. We didn't wait literally by the time we got back to the clubhouse, maybe 15 minutes, we headed out again.
For the final round?
No, that was for the second round.
Okay.
And then after that, we came back in. We had the meeting, and it was over about, I want to say 2:30 or 3 o'clock, and they decided that the final cast would go out between 5 and 5:30. We was going to give the squirrels time to stir a little bit.
So y'all had several hours to relax, get the dogs' feet back under them, let them rest a little bit.
That's right.
Now, are you one of those that I've seen several guys do it? They give their dogs like electrolytes and stuff like that after rounds or during the hunt. Do you do anything like that for your dogs?
I do. I give them a couple different things. I got a little concoction or two I mix up there, and give them a little of that NutriCal, and I give them some electrolytes. Just something. Dub is such a hard. I mean, when I say intense tree dog, I've never counted his barks, but I bet he's well over 100 barks a minute dog. So he burns a lot of energy. So when I do at every tree, I try to water him a little bit and I mix some water up there and with the electrolytes in it, and I give it to him between every tree and then between rounds also.
Okay. All right. I know I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and sometimes they'll be out fun hunting and they ain't doing it, and they'll see the dog get lazy. And the next time they go out, they hit him with that, and it's like, bam, it hits them with another, like a second wind almost.
It really does. And I use some stuff. You can buy it off Amazon. It's completely 100% legal. It's called NutriCal, I think is what it is. And it's just a gel. And I tell everybody it's my dog's Snicker bar. I just run me out a big old finger full of it and rub it in the top of his mouth. And it looks like syrup to me. So
Yeah.
I guess that's probably what it is. It's straight sugar. But it does give them a little kick, between rounds.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, it's the third round. I know everybody kind of seen this on Facebook. Heck, I think the thread's got almost 100 comments on it just from yesterday afternoon. Everybody was catching up on Facebook trying to see what was going on. It was a real shootout. That was one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on here to get your side of things, where it could kind of be a first person perspective over instead of Facebook.
It was. I've been competition hunting a long time, and it was probably the most action-packed cast I've ever been in on my life. And I've got the scores wrote down here in front of me where I can kind of remember what everything happened. But I can tell you it was kind of like the movie. It was the Fast and the Furious.
There you go. There you go.
It ended up being myself and Eric Wally with Hawk. And I think Chris's last name is Sproul. Chris Sproul hunting Black Betty.
Okay.
And Black Betty's actually I think she's a very, very young dog, a puppy more or less. And I think she did really well in the first 2 rounds. So we get there and we take all our pictures. It's about 5:30. We're getting everything ready. And we line up there. We don't walk 30 yards in the woods. We get ready to cut. And Hawk pulls out about 250 straight ahead. And Dub don't go. Oh, he don't go anywhere. He's right by us. Goes to beating a tree on the left of us, and I was like, man, that don't sound like a good tree. And as soon Eric treed Hawk, and I was like, well, I got to do something. So we started walking away from Dub, and then he got serious. He didn't want us to leave him, so he went to really hammering down. So I treed him. I walked a minute in there with him to burn my minute off the clock. And Bart let me go back and handle my dog. So I went back and handled him, tied him back, and it was in a sweet gum tree. And I love sweet gum trees. I think squirrels always hang out in sweet gums. And so we waited for the whole cast to get back, and it was Butch Spivey and myself waiting at the tree. And whenever they came back, of course, I always got asked, y'all have a squirrel? They said, yep. And I was like, gosh, dog, because I really thought that tree was kind of cold. We pulled the vine, out the squirrel went. So I said, well, we're back even. So we get ready to cut back loose. Kind of the same scenario. We cut loose. Hawk goes in there about 600. And Dub's left-handed. You can almost see him. He's running along the edge of one of those government food plots. And, I mean, he just slams a squirrel or a tree. So, same thing. He does it as we're walking by him. I could have just walked straight to him there. So, I had to walk a minute. I get my minute in. And I think Chris Sproul treated Betty in there, too. She came in there about us, but it was after the minute, so we handled her at the tree. So me, Chris, and Butch went to that tree, and Eric and Melissa and Bart went to score the other tree. And so we just waited there for them. And they came back. I said, y'all have one? They said no, and I just knew that I was going to have one because, I mean, it was little short timber, one little nest about 15 feet up. I mean, I said, he's in there. There's no doubt. Dub was just slobbering at the mouth trying to get to him. So I told Butch, I said, don't you even get close to that tree till they get here. So they finally get there, and we searched, and that was the only tree that I really felt like I was going to 100% see the squirrel. And we searched, and we searched. and I had nothing. So I was like, golly. So we pulled out. So we're tied again, 100 plus, 100 circle. And Betty, she didn't get on the card there because she was a little late getting to the tree. So we walk past that clear cut. That food plot, and we fall off into another little bottom there. And we cut, and the timber wasn't quite as pretty there. And I'm telling you, Dub was getting gassed at this point, and Eric will tell you, Hawk was gassed too. And Hawk went in there about 200 and treed. And of course, in a competition hunt, you always get to say, man, I don't ever see my dog do that. Dub didn't go covering, but he did go into a search area, and so did the Betty dog. So I just went straight and handled Dub, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. I'm fixing to get a tree behind right here. And we looked and we looked. We pulled everything around. I told Eric that he needed to keep Melissa as a vine puller. She pulls vines harder than he does. And we couldn't find their squirrel, none of us. We looked everywhere. So I guess then it's 100 plus, 200 circle Hawk, 100 plus, 100 circle Dub, and Betty hadn't made the card yet. So we cut loose. Hawk goes about, I'm going to say 600, and he gets treed. Well, when we're walking to him, Dub's about, close to 600 in complete opposite direction. So I tree him. Well, they let me go, me and Chris. No, let's see. Actually, I think me and Melissa and maybe Bart. I don't know why Bart went with us. They went to tree theirs and Bart went with us. So we went in there and they're searching theirs and I'm searching mine, or we're searching mine. And I was like, man, I need a squirrel and a circle or two squirrels or something. So when we get there, I'm watching the clock. By now, we've done used a lot of clock. We was only hunting 60 minutes. We're getting down to I'm going to say roughly 4 minutes. So I said, I'm just going to search for a minute. So I searched a minute and 20 something seconds, I think. And I hollered satisfied. Well, all dogs wasn't treed. So I was able to cut loose again. And I was down to, I'm going to say 3 minutes or so. So we're about maybe 800 from Hawk, something like that, 700, somewheres in that. So we're starting to go, and I can hear Dub way in there to the complete opposite direction. And I said, Bart, I've got my dog. Can you hear him? He said, I'm committed going to this dog. I said, well, can Chris act as a secondary judge and see if he can get him called in? He said, yeah, because you can hear him good. He said, yeah, and then y'all can go to him if you hear him. So as soon as the crunching of the leaves stopped, he was crystal clear. And so I called him, and he was, according to my Garmin, he was 761 yards. So we went to him. So basically, we're probably, 1,200-1,400 yards apart. So we get to him and probably have to wait 20 minutes for them to get there, search the tree, all that good stuff. And I'm some kind of nervous now because I knew I was a tree down, but that tree I needed to have to beat him if I had a squirrel in it. Get in there, and as they come walking up to the tree about 20 minutes, I said, y'all have a squirrel? I said, sure did. And I was like, gosh, dog, I got to have one. And it was in a pin oak tree that you could barely see the top of, but it had two good vines in it, and I'd had 20 minutes to look at them vines. So I slipped underneath there, got everybody around the tree, and by now, mind you, it's getting really dark. I grabbed some vines, and I pull them, and what made that squirrel do it, I don't know. He was in the tree right next to that tree. He jumped into the tree that I was pulling the vines in.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, goodness. So we're back tied up then at 200 plus, 200 circle each. And we're complete. Oh, I didn't say this a while ago. Whenever we was walking to him, whenever I treed Dub, there was 54 seconds left in the hunt. So the hunt time was way over.
Way over.
So I said, what we going to do now? Overtime again? They said, yeah. I said, y'all want to do it today? Y'all want to spend the night? Whatever. And they said, it's enough light to see one. I said, okay. So I'm going to say we walked up there probably, 80 or 90 yards, and we get ready, and Bart gets his clock set, We 3-2-1 cut. And when he does, they both blow out straight ahead. Dub immediately turns around and runs right back past us and starts treeing. And I think Hawk got like 700 in there. And I said, do y'all think that dog's on the same tree or in the search area that he was? And everybody was like, I don't know. I said, well, I'm going to ease right there and look before I call him, because if not, I'll handle him and recut him. And we got over there. After it was over with, we measured it. I was 73 yards away from the tree. We was way plenty far, but it did sound like it. So when I walked around, I said, hey, guys, I'm fixing to tree him. And look, we were right on top of him. It was that dark, and we had kind of got around a little brush pile there. And Eric walked up. I said, Eric, he's treed. I got a tree. And I'll tell you straight up, Eric got a little aggravated. He said, man, I hate to lose, but that's a terrible way to lose. And we all thought my dog had probably just reached and grabbed a tree. Mm-hmm. And so I told my buddy, I said, we score in this tree. I didn't have to score it. I said, we score in that tree. And we waited the 2 minutes, and we leashed him. We pulled a vine, squirrel ran out of the top of it. And I said, well, hey, bud, does it make you feel a little better now? We got a squirrel. He said, I hate it, but I got to eat crow. He said, I thought your dog just grabbed a tree for the win. I said, I ain't going to lie, I did too. And so that it ended up giving me 300 plus and 200 circle. And then Hawk was, he was over a mile from the truck whenever Eric and Melissa went to handle him. So we slipped out and waited on them. And when they came back, they were spent. It was over for them. Everybody was tired. So that's how it ended up. 300 plus, 200 circle for me, 200 plus, 200 circle for Eric, and Chris never got on the card.
Man, that sounds like a heck of a hunt, man. I hate that it's getting dark on you so quick. It'd have been nice to have another 30 or 40 minutes daylight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but man, look, I'm telling you, it was as exciting of a cast as you could get in. And it, like I say, Eric got a little aggravated, but I mean, he wasn't really aggravated. He was wanting to win, just like I was wanting to win.
The competitive
side.
And
yes, both of us, all of us, and it was just tit for tat, tit for tat. I mean, it was just like both of them were really good squirrel dogs, and everybody was really good competitors. I mean, there was not one crossword. Everybody got along just fine.
Yeah. And, that's one of the main reasons I like hunting the UMCA so much, man. You don't see the fighting and the arguing. Great organization. Great organization.
You bet it is. While we're saying that, I kind of want to give a shout out to, I know I did at the beginning, but like Bob Osborne, he don't ever stop. He's there. Don't even hunt a dog, I don't think. I don't think he hunted one this weekend there. He's got some really good help this year. He's got some young guys that's fell in there and helping him. And then anytime you do something in Hazen, you got the whole LBK crew there, and every one of them step up and act like that, you are their personal friends when you're there, because they're helping, they're judging, they're guiding, doing everything you can do. I know whenever I won the world hunt, I think there was 2 or 3 of the LBK guys there just spectating, watching, guiding, just doing whatever, judging, so that makes it nice when people do help.
Oh, exactly. And, it goes back to, like I kind of said, UMCA is more of a brotherhood. You've always got guys willing to help out. Everybody's buddies. I love it. Absolutely love it, man.
And I think it's going to do nothing but grow.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be the next top thing, to be honest. Trying to say this in a nice way. Look at the number of dogs that's showing up to the UMCA events to some of the other organizations at the moment.
You're right. I mean, just look at this one hunt. It was a state hunt and had 23 to 25 dogs, something like that in there.
And I believe it's been that way already at some of the other ones. I think the last Mississippi hunt, 20-something dogs. Cliff's hunts.
21.
Yeah. Yep. Cliff's hunts in Alabama, super early, but still good number of dogs. And it may just be that the sport's growing also, man. But, hey, I'm along for the ride. I love it. Love seeing it.
I do too. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to a bunch of them this year. I'm not big about chasing titles. And I know it sounds crazy if I'm hunting UMCA, being that they're not money hunts, but I really just like going. Last night they gave point slips out, and I kind of giggled. I said, it's been a long time since I've been to a hunt and got a point slip. I've never, I hadn't worried about point slips in many years. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty neat right there. So I don't know how many points a man gets for a state hunt, but I got some last night, so I guess it felt good.
That's all that matters, buddy. That's all that matters. Well, man, we invite you to come up here and hunt with us in Georgia. Like I said, I'm hosting 3 hunts myself. If I don't get to see you up here, I hope I get to meet you at one of these other hunt summers this year. So
definitely will. And look, I know it hasn't made it on the UMCA calendar yet, but I got my dates this past week for the Louisiana State hunt, and it's going to be January 31st and February 1st. The closest address, it would be either Jonesville or Gina, Louisiana, and it's probably 40 miles from the Mississippi line. 62,000 acres of solid hardwoods. There's not a pine in the whole place.
Oh, man.
And not a cat squirrel in the whole place. Solid red fox squirrels.
Okay.
And so it'll be a fun hunt.
Mm-hmm. Now, how's the coon hunting down there? Is that something that the coon hunters ought to be wanting to come to as well?
You bet. It is. Like I say, now it depends on how much rain we get between now and then. That's actually where I grew up at, is where the hunt's going to be. And it's if it gets a lot of water, it's no less than hip boots anywhere's in there. But if we don't get a lot of water, it's just low, flat ground with solid hardwoods. There's coons everywhere in there.
There you go. Give something for them coon hunters to get looking forward to as well. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's enough where like they have coon hunts there. I know they used to a night or two a week in that reserve.
Okay. Oh, great. Well, man, like I said, I just wanted to get you on here, talk about your wins, congratulate you, and like I said, buddy, I hope I get to meet you one of these days at one of these hunts or see you somewhere. So.
Good deal, and I thank y'all for doing the podcast. It's always good to be on it. I'm an old fat man, and feels good to kind of keep up with the technology. I think this is the 4th podcast I've got asked to be on, and I actually enjoy doing them. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, people love them. It's I love to get on the phone and talk to people. Love to talk these dogs, and I feel like there's a lot more people out there. So I just started it just to talk dogs and get guys' backstories. One of these days I want to sit down with you and have a nice long conversation of you growing up and what got you into the dogs and everything like that. So,
well, anytime you're ready, you give me a shout and we'll definitely do it.
I will do, buddy. Hey, like I said, I appreciate it. Congratulations. I hope to see you soon, and you keep that old dog rolling, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
You have a great night, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.